Hey everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns, and I'm reviewing another Umarex product. I get people saying to me, oh, you must really like Umarex products. Sure, they're good products. I don't have anything against them. I'm not favoriting them in any way. It's just that Umarex makes a lot of air guns. So there's a lot of Umarex products that I end up reviewing. And this is yet another one. This is the CPSport. Now this comes as a .177 caliber pellet shooter. So let's get right into the specifications. Now this is a non-blowback metal and plastic design. It does have some Walther licensing and trademarks. Overall, it has a nice polymer construction on the outside with some metal interior parts. It uses 12 gram CO2 cartridges. Again, it's a .177 caliber pellet shooter. But as you'll see in this review, I tested out my PPQ 8-round BB magazine that I got with my PPQ, which is another Umarex product. And so I thought I'd try these magazines out in this gun because they take the same metal magazine for the pellets. So it only makes sense that the BB magazine should work in both guns. So you'll see how that test went. Now keep in mind that these guns have rifled barrels. When you use metal BBs, there is the possibility of wearing down the rifled barrel. Just depends on what you want to use this gun for as to what kind of ammunition you're going to use in it. Now again, this gun has a rifled barrel, uses the 8-round rotary magazines so commonly used in a lot of these Umarex products. This gun weighs 1.3 pounds. It is a double action only gun, and this gun resembles the P99 by Walther. This gun has a claimed feet per second of 360 FPS, and that's for pellets. This gun looks most like the P99, especially on the bottom half. Now the slide is quite different from the P99. It's lacking the cutout ejection port and a few other things because this is the more affordable version of this gun when you compare this to the CP99, which is a very similar product, and I'll mention a few differences in a bit. Now another nice thing about this gun is that it's made in Germany. Now it came in the clear plastic wrap packaging, so it wasn't fancy packaging or anything, but this is the more economical version of this gun. Now I might as well get something out of the way. This particular product, the CPSport and the CP99, are very, very close in many ways. They're both made in Germany. They pretty much have the identical lower frame. The slide is different. That's really the main difference, is the slide is different. The mechanics are all the same inside, feet per second, all of that's the same. Now on the CP99 you get a metal slide as opposed to a polymer slide like you have on the CPSport. And the slide is more detailed on the CP99 as well. So it looks a lot more closely like the P99 that it's a replica of. Other than that, they're really similar. So if you don't mind a few cosmetic differences and a little bit less metal, then the CPSport is a much less expensive gun with pretty much the same specifications. Alright, so let's take a detailed walk around of this gun. As you can see, you've got your product name on the top, CPSport, licensed by Walther here. You have Umarex on the handle. Now this is your the slide catch or slide release is how you open the front part of this slide here to get access to your magazines. I'm going to show you the BB magazine as well, just so you can get an idea. I want to show you quickly that they do fit in here, exactly like they would normally. Okay, so, and they work. And you'll see that later on in my testing. Now the gun only comes with the metal magazine, but you can order these plastic magazines from Umarex in 3 packs. I believe they're about $12 or so. We'll put that back in. Now the trigger is plastic, although it does look like metal. I don't think it's going to be a problem at all because the trigger pull on this gun is not heavy at all. I would say it's a medium pull, so you're not exerting a lot of force on the trigger. Now you have the magazine release. It's ambidextrous, and that just releases your full-size dropout. Now it's not a metal magazine, it's plastic here with metal on the top with some metal parts in it, but this is where your CO2 goes. And to load your CO2, you pop it in there, finger tighten this, and you'd start here, so you'd adjust it up, and then you'd rotate this around to lock it in position, and that pierces the CO2. I did want to also mention that there's a lot of usage of metal on the internal parts here. As you can see, a lot of internal parts are metal. Let's take a look at the right side. There's not a lot going on here. As you can see, there's no ejection port at all. We do have our safety here. Okay, works very well. A lot of our actual markings and regulations and different notifications are on here. Your warning here, not a toy, made in Germany. I know this is upside down, but you can always turn your head here. You've got the F here, and that's to classify this gun as under 7 joules for the German market. Again, you have your ambidextrous magazine release. Okay. Umarex on the handle again. Let's take a look at the top of this gun. You can see you've got your white dot markings here. They work very well. Nothing wrong with these sights at all. The rear sight is adjustable for windage. You notice again no ejection port cut out here at all. Very simplified slide, but it works well. Again, on the bottom you can see here where your magazine goes. And there's your magazine ejection release here. You'll also notice you have the accessory rail here. Easy to mount accessories on this gun, lasers or potentially tactical lights. On the front of this gun, you don't have any recessed barrel, and potentially this may be done to get a little bit more feet per second out of it. If you recess the barrel, you've got a shorter barrel with potentially less feet per second shooting. Now I'm going to open this up so hopefully we can see down this a little bit. See that it's rifled. A little bit tough. I really quickly wanted to kind of do a good, better, best comparison here of some of these guns. This is the Umarex PPQ. Then we have our CPSport that I'm reviewing right now. And then we have our CP88. Now I don't have a CP99, or I'd probably put that in here instead of the CP88, but I want to give you just some ideas. Price-wise, the PPQ is about a $70 gun. The CPSport is around $100, pretty much right on the nose. And then you're looking at CP88 is about $200. So they definitely jump up in price. Now you go from a gun that's made in Taiwan to German-made guns here, and that will definitely increase the price of the guns where they're made. When you go from the PPQ to the CPSport, you do get a nicer trigger pull on this gun. You also get the full-size dropout magazine, which is nice. Now the PPQ does come with the BB magazines because it's a newer gun, and Umarex has added that to their line, the BB magazines. When you jump up to the CP88, you get pretty much an all-metal gun. Frame, slide is all metal. CP88 also has a double and single action trigger, which is really nice. It's just a much weightier and just nicer finished gun overall. So for the extra $100, you're getting a substantially nicer gun. Now does that mean you got to go out and buy the CP88? Not really, just really depends what your budget is, right? If you got $70 to spend, then the PPQ is going to be a great gun for you. Well worth 70 bucks. Got a little bit more money, then I'd say step up to the CPSport. Going to get a nicer trigger pull. Going to get the full-size dropout magazine. If you've got $200 to spend and you want the top of the line Umarex rotary magazine style gun, then definitely take a look at the CP88. It's a beautiful gun, shoots really nice. It's just a pleasure to shoot. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the chronograph portion of this test where I shoot 8 rounds using the pellet magazine, and then I shoot 8 rounds using the BB magazine. Okay everyone, so I've got my Umarex CPSport ready to go here. I've got 2 magazines loaded up. We're going to chronograph the pellet magazine first, so 8 shots worth of pellets. And then you'll see here on the right, I've got a BB magazine. Now this magazine came with my Umarex PPQ. And I haven't tested this in any other guns, but they use the same style magazines. So I'm hoping that these will work fine. And we're going to do a trial run and see what kind of feet per second we get with the BBs and the pellets. And we're going to load the pellets first. We'll pop that in. And we're off safety, we're live, we're ready to go. And so we're going to shoot the first round through this chronograph. 372. 374. 376. 360. 348. 342, 345, shot 8, 335. We're going to give this gun a little bit of a break to warm up between shots. Okay, so I've let my gun warm up a little bit and I've reset my chronograph. We're now going to load the BB magazine in, see how we do. First shot. 407, 388, 379, 379, 377, 369, 366, almost 367, and last shot, 365. So not too bad. We got pretty close shots with BBs and pellets, a little bit faster with the BBs because they are lighter. So that's not really unexpected in this situation here. Okay, and now we're going to move to the shooting portion of this test, and I'm going to test out the accuracy using both the pellets and the BBs. Alright, so I've got my Umarex CPSport, and we're going to do the standard from 20 feet away freestanding position target shooting test that I do. And I'm going to use both the pellet magazine and the BB magazine. I'm going to take 8 shots with the pellet magazine first. Then we're going to switch over and we're going to shoot 8 shots with the BB magazine. Alright, so let's head back and shoot some shots on this target. I've got my pellet magazine we're going to load in. There we go. And we're off safety, ready to go. Now this gun is not targeted in by any means, so I'm not expecting a dead center shooting results for this gun, but here we go. Alright, so we're shooting a little high and to the left. Now this sight is adjustable for windage, not elevation, so I could easily move this to the right and I could adjust my aim point a little bit down and get this on target no problem. So we got here, with this exception of a flyer, we got about 1 1/4 inch group right here, and then we got a bit of a flyer up here, which brought it into more of a 2.5 inch group. Okay, we're going to put the BB magazine in. We're going to give this a try. Alright. Again, 8 shots, BB magazine. Alright, this wanted to shoot a little bit lower with the BBs, it seems. Again to the left, so this sight definitely needs to be moved over a little bit to the right. The group got a little bit bigger, definitely more into the 2-inch grouping. It's hard to tell though because we're overlapping a bit. But I'm thinking that BBs want to shoot a little bit lower in general than the pellets, and that'll happen depending on what kind of ammunition you're using. Not too bad of a test, and it's good to know that this gun will use both magazines, the BB magazines and the pellet magazines, although it doesn't come with any BB magazines. I'm sure you could probably order them from Umarex. If you want to order these magazines, you probably need to order the same ones that you would order for the PPQ. Alright, so the shooting test, we found out that the gun not only shoots pellets, but BBs fairly accurately. And I just want to show you that I shot another 64 rounds, so basically it was 8 magazines on this target in total. And I'll just show you what the grouping was here. Now when I shot these additional magazines and additional rounds into here, I used pellets because that's primarily what this gun is designed to shoot. And you can see that the grouping was pretty much right here, and that represents about a 1.5 to 2 inch grouping here. That's where it really wanted to shoot. And I was shooting fairly quickly because I was really, trying to find out how many shots I could get out of this gun and basic overall accuracy when doing real world shooting with it. And by the way, I was able to get a total of 12 magazines before the gun noticeably dropped off, and that's close to about 100 rounds out of one CO2 magazine. Most of those shots were taken again with pellets. Alright, so it's time for the pros and the cons for this air gun. One of the pros is it's a very well priced gun. So at about just under $100, you're getting pretty much the same gun you'd get if you were to purchase the CP99 with just a little bit less of the finishing. Now this gun shoots both pellets and BBs, as we found out. Now keep in mind it has a rifled barrel, and running steel BBs through a rifled barrel over a long period of time may affect the rifling, so keep that in mind. This gun's easy to target. It has good usage of the white dot sights, and not only that, the rear sight is adjustable for windage. Now even though this gun uses a fair amount of plastic on the outside, there's a lot of metal on the inside. It also has the full-size dropout magazine. So overall it has a decent weight to it. Now the slide catch and the safety and the magazine release, they're all functional. They're not just molded into the gun, which is a nice feature. And again, the full-size dropout magazine is a nice touch. This gun's made in Germany. You really can't complain about that. Now even though this is a double action only gun, it has a fairly nice trigger pull with a very predictable release. So once you get used to it, it's fairly easy to shoot this gun on target. Some of the things that I didn't like, well, there is a fair bit of usage of plastic on the outside, and not everybody is going to like that. Now the gun still looks really nice and still functions really nice, so the plastic didn't affect that at all in any way. The slide on this gun doesn't have a lot of detail. There's no ejection port cut out, so if you want to get that added slide detail, you might want to look into the CP99. Virtually the same gun with a little bit more detail to the slide. Now one thing that I do like on a lot of air guns is when they do a recessed barrel. So they have what looks like a larger barrel, and then it recesses in maybe a ½ an inch, and then you have your actual barrel, which is the smaller barrel. And that just gives the gun a more realistic look. This gun doesn't do that, but I have a feeling that Umarex did this to get a few more feet per second out of this gun. Alright, so that wraps up this review of the Umarex CPSport Pellet Pistol. I hope you've enjoyed this review. If this is your first time watching one of my replica airgun videos, make sure to check out more of my videos or even subscribe to my channel so you get notified of all the new ones that I make. I try to make 2 or 3 videos a week. Now this gun is available in the Replica Airgun store, so come on down to replicaairguns.com and check out this gun and a lot of our other products that we have in the store. I also like to post corresponding articles about the products that I review in my YouTube videos, so come on down again and check out the reviews that I have on the website. Sometimes I go into some more details about certain things, or even talk about some stuff that's not in the videos. So come on down and check out replicaairguns.com, and we'll see you next time.